you done now?
He was dead, but why?
Okay.
None of you even met him till tonight.
You're Mr. Body. Wait a minute! So who did I kill?
My butler.
Oh, shucks.
He was expendable like all of you. I'm grateful to you all for disposing of my network of spies and informers. Saved me a lot of trouble. Now there's no evidence against me.
This all has nothing to do with my disappearing nuclear physicist husband or Colonel Mustard's work with the new top-secret fusion bomb.
No. Communism was just a red herring.
But the police will be here any minute. You'll never get away with this, any of you.
Why should the police come? Nobody's called them.
You mean, oh my God, of course.
So why shouldn't we get away with it? We'll stack the bodies in the cellar, lock it, leave quietly one at a time, and forget that any of this ever happened.
And you'll just go on blackmailing us all.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cluedo Movie Podcast, where we break down the 1985 cult classic movie Clue 1 minute at a time. I did that a little staccato and in rhythm. My name is the Boat Brad Gilmore, joined as always by the $1 Million podcaster, Jeff Smith. And
If only that were true. If only that were true.
Well, it should be.
I got a few dollars.
And we're joined this week by a man who made his actual first appearance in minute 91 of Cluedo Movie Podcast. Yeah. And he decided to stick around for an entire week, Jeff, to join us.
I know.
As we say
very patient.
Our final few episodes of Cluedo Movie Podcast. He is Ben Ripley. Ben, how's it going, my friend?
Hey.
All is good. All is good. I'm wearing exactly the same clothes, which is really
it's very strange how that happened.
Last week, well, you've been sitting in that little corner that we put you in for a week. You must be starving.
Now, I am. Now, the thing, Ben, we're going to get into a lot about Ben. This is really what this episode's called, All About Ben. But before we get all about Ben, I want to know, because people can't see it, so for the benefit of those who can, which is me, can we see what do we got going on in the background here? We got a lot of Clue stuff.
Okay, yeah. I did do a little bit of a display because I'm a massive nerd. So I've got this isn't even all of it. This is some of my Cluedo, the Clue reference things. I've even got a candlestick. And jigsaws, cassettes, Blu-rays, the Whodunit documentary.
Hey, I've heard of that. You're in that, Ben.
I am. And
he's not only a podcast guest, he's in the documentary.
Right.
I did point out to Jeff at the time when this first came out that I love how the fact on the sleeve there are only 5 bullets. I like that.
Oh, look at that. See, look.
You did point that out, and I have no idea if that was on purpose. I would love to think that it was, but maybe it was. I don't know. I did not design
the other one is still in the gun, you see. So
that's right.
Yeah.
1 plus.
No, I get it.
2 plus.
1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
No, it's 1 plus 2
plus 1 plus 2 plus 1.
Even if you were right, that'd be 1 plus 1, not 1 plus 2 plus 1.
That's right.
So we did it weeks ago. Shut up.
So Ben, you're welcome to the show. We're excited to have you. For those of you who, or for people listening who might not have seen the documentary, first of all, shame on you, and are unfamiliar with you. What is your Clue origin story?
Okay, so this was back, I can't remember how old I was. It would have been early teens, and it was on the channel BBC Two in the UK one weeknight. I think it was a Wednesday, from memory, Wednesday or Thursday. And my brother and I just sat down to watch. I was always a huge, and still am, a massive board game fan anyway. So I went, oh my God, I'd not heard of this movie until I saw it in the listings. And we sat down and watched it, and rolled about laughing an awful lot. And it was so influential to me. I started doing, I was already making films with my friend William. I don't know if William's listening to this as well.
Shout out to William.
He and I used to make films together, basically spoof of 70s stuff. Those kind of, I can't remember what you call them, the Children's Film Foundation kind of films where just, kids having adventures and everything.
Sure.
And we did a few of those. And so watching Clue made me write one called The Butler Didn't Do It, in which I was a butler and a bunch of people came to a house and lots of people got murdered, and it had terrible jokes in it. I mean, absolutely terrible. One of the worst jokes, actually, I don't know, is it one of the worst? I've got so many bad ones. One was where the butler, I say to one of the guests, said, "Would you care for a cup of tea?" And she says, "No, thank you. I don't think I could handle the responsibilities." It's not a good joke.
I like that.
Bad.
No, I like that.
That's not bad.
But then I started doing, when people have hobbies when they're young, they could be playing football, they could be stamp collecting. I don't know what other people were doing. I was organizing murder parties, and I did so many, usually 2 or 3 a year. And it was orchestrating it. It was finding a place to host them, giving people characters. It was such a lot of work. It wasn't one of those where you sit around the table opening envelopes. They're fun, but I preferred ones where people ran about the house, and basically I played Wadsworth most of the time. So.
Wow. Well, first of all, I want to say this, and this is going to be very deflating for you and the listeners. I've never been to a murder party, and I've always wanted to do one. So if I find myself in your neck of the woods, I would hope that you would organize one in my honor.
I would, yes, absolutely.
No, just kidding. And secondly, okay, so y'all are obsessed at a young age with this story and these kind of movies, and it's carried on until. So when did Clue become the rewatched one, right? Because we all have the movies that we like growing up, but then at one point it's like, no, this is my, like for me it's Back to the Future, and then Clue is also in there as well. When did it like kind of solidify itself in your Mount
It was
Rushmore?
so quick. It was so quick because I wanted it, because I taped it off the TV as well, and I had to show everybody. So I had friends over and we would watch it. I even went to the great trouble. This is so sad. we had 2 VCRs, and I would connect them up, and I taped what from the. This is probably illegal. I'm not sure, but
I think the statute's probably passed.
Yeah, hopefully. But I would tape it and re-edit it. So I had on 3 different cassettes, one with ending 1, one with ending 2, one with ending 3, so that I could shuffle them up and put them in and not know which ending I was going to get. That's how obsessed I was.
So, Jeff, tell me your Ben Ripley origin story. How did Ben end up in the documentary?
I put a call out to people on the socials that just said, this was years ago, it was even years before the documentary was finished, and it just had the idea, we'll put together, like at the very end, some just testimonials from Clue fans. And because I started to, as I was making the documentary, it first started out being just about the making of the movie Clue. And then I started meeting people like Ben who, really cared about the movie as well. And that's why Who Done the Clue documentary, the first half is about making Clue. The second half shifts to the fans. And Ben was one of the submissions, and Ben's video was hard because, everybody gets like a few seconds here and there. And the whole story, based on that, I believe was part of it as well, talking about recording it off of the BBC. And then when he just kind of goes into, I've seen it 1,000 times, and I actually recited it before we went on. He talks about how when he's as a film buff, which I am, I can quote his whole line right now. When you edit your own movie, you watch it over and over again. People expect your favorite film to be Citizen Kane or Casablanca, but it's not. It's Clue. It's also in the trailer, I believe. That very line is in the Who Done It trailer. So he made the trailer as well. And he shows in the documentary part of his collection as well, which is definitely, I've noticed, even if that's not everything, has grown since the few years ago that Ben did it. But Ben was one of the first testimonials that came in, and was definitely one of my favorites. Definitely, as I say 3 times. to really show that I mean it.
So you had the 3 cassette tapes, Ben, that had the 3 different endings that you edited together, which is amazing. I love that. Which one did you find yourself watching the most?
Okay.
Ooh, what's the favorite ending?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because this is tough, because let's.
What's your least favorite ending?
My least favorite ending.
That's usually easy.
Is the real ending? I mean, the everybody.
Everybody did it.
That's your least favorite. Okay.
I love them all, but you've got to pick one. That's my least favorite, and it is that one purely because of the Mrs. White thing, the fact that she couldn't have done it. And as I messaged you the other day about this, because you'd mentioned it in episode in minute 90 that Wadsworth is upstairs and then suddenly downstairs again. So he must have used the same magic portal that she used to get in from the master bedroom to the billiard room. So that has always
It's set up. There's a portal.
Yeah.
I think Wadsworth knows that's how he's able to do it. Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. Well, I think he might have got something from his dealings with the planet Transylvania from Rocky Horror. Let's say that.
There's a crossover there. Yeah, I like that.
Andy Tim Curry is canon. He also works at a hotel in New York and has to deal with a little bratty kid.
Yeah, and he likes to rip off the arms of those bratty kids when he's having brains.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Am I misremembering, or was Tim Curry in the McHale's Navy movie they did? Does anyone
He was in The Hunt for Red October, so he has been in a submarine.
Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe he wasn't in McHale's Navy.
I don't think he's in McHale's Navy, but he's in The Hunt for Red October. So you're picturing the submarine. Movie. No, the movie with Kelsey Grammer.
Was Kelsey Grammer in McHale's Navy?
Or is that? I think so. Or am I thinking of?
I don't know. Y'all
look it up.
Yourselves. Y'all talk amongst yourselves.
I did not see the McHale's Navy movie, and I'm okay with that. Don't put that on the list for the next podcast.
Well, the only reason I've seen the McHale's Navy movie was because this is I'm gonna sound like a nerd, Ben. So you guess what? I'm gonna take it away from you. Is because it's directed by a guy named Brian Spicer, and Brian Spicer also directed the 1995 classic film, The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, which I was a big fan of. So, by the way, and I don't know if he ever did another movie after this. Tom Arnold played
Tom Arnold.
McHale. And we have Tim Curry is Major Vladikov.
All right. What's the submarine movie with Kelsey Grammer then? Because he was in a submarine movie too. I think it's Down Periscope.
It is. I think it is Down Periscope.
I'm pretty sure.
I can see him on the front cover of the...
So So in white. So Tim Curry did 2 submarine movies. He did McHale's Navy and I think the sequel, The Hunt for Red October. I think they're in the same universe.
Those go together. Listen to this cast.
They got Sean Connery to come back.
Listen to this cast real quick. I'm sorry for the tangent. Tom
Navy?
Arnold, Deborah Messing, Bruce
Before
Campbell,
she's Deborah Messing.
French Stewart, Tommy Chong, David Allen Greer, Tim Curry, and Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah.
Wow.
How 90s is this? What year?
This is 97.
Okay, it's pretty 90s. That cast screams. I mean, Tom Arnold by himself is all kinds of 90s.
Right. So anyway, back to Clue.
Excellent.
Back to Clue.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ben.
The endings.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So my favorite is actually the Miss Scarlet ending, just because, I don't know, it just works. It works for me completely. And Leslie Ann Warren just is fantastic. I loved the episode where you had her on interviewing her, because that was just such a gorgeous episode. So yeah, that's my favorite. But I really do have a soft spot for the Mrs. Peacock ending, mainly because I love Mrs. Peacock. I think Eileen Brennan's performance is just stunning. And the fact that she does, as you mentioned previously, the way she kind of just changes and becomes kind of evil for that last moment, the way she changes her voice, and I don't know, she's just glorious to watch. And she's got one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, not in that ending, but I've quoted it so many times in my life, well, someone's got to break the ice, and it might as well be me. I mean, I'm used to being a hostess at Spa to my husband's work, and it's always difficult when a group of new friends meet together for the first time to get acquainted. So I'm perfectly prepared to start the ball rolling, and I have absolutely no idea what we're doing here, what I'm doing here, what this place is about, but I'm determined to enjoy myself, and I'm very intrigued to know. The soup's delicious, isn't it?
Oh, come on, man. Can I get a Great Scott?
Great Scott.
That's the Great Scott moment of the week.
Great Scott!
I love her.
Wow.
And it does have... her ending also has the brilliant Mr. Green. Is that what we ate?
That's true.
Pure gold.
Now, okay,
so I love those 2 endings more. Yeah.
First of all, I agree with you. My favorite line delivery in your quote you just gave from Miss Peacock, where they're at the dining table, is where she like kind of goes up on the determined. Her voice kind of rises. I'm determined to enjoy myself. I love that, man. It's so good. She is really good. But you know what? I feel like Peacock doesn't get a lot of love. And I will say this.
Yeah, I feel this too, and it's so unfair.
It is unfair because she is the most in the pocket, I think, with every line delivery. When you think about, I mean, obviously Wadsworth and everything is great, but she is so in the pocket, never misses in her moment. You were going to say something, Ben.
I was. So, you know how previously you've talked about how Mrs. White reacts to everything, and, you know, if you try and watch the movie just watching her reactions, do it with Mrs. Peacock as well, because there's a brilliant moment where they're in the study and everything's explained to Professor Plum, and she's nodding her head like that. And then it's explained, we still don't know what killed him. And then she starts doing that. Just her reactions. It's brilliant. I'm sorry. I realize we're on a podcast and I'm shaking my head, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes. Now
people know. She nods in agreement, and then she goes, "No."
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask this to the two of you for this minute specifically, minute 92. Few things are revealed, but the biggest is that Wadsworth was Mr. Body all along, right?
It broke my heart.
It is a heartbreaking moment, but as far as reveals go, it makes you go, what? And then though you go, wait, how is that possible? Right? You start to try to put it together.
Why?
You're like, why are you Mr. I don't.
Why did this movie happen then? Why did the movie happen if it's him? Why did he play with all of us for an hour and a half?
Right. Isn't that kind of the conclusion?
Could have shot them when they walked in the door.
I think in this version he's just unhinged, and I think I've mentioned in a lot of posts before that I think if this ending is true, then why is his butler going along with the plan? And I just think he just told him it was a murder party and just go along with it and didn't realize he was actually going to get killed. So.
Yeah, it does.
Which would explain why he pretends to be dead, too.
Exactly.
He's like, oh, I was supposed to be shot, so I'll lay here. And then if it doesn't happen, like, get up, and then all of a sudden he's surprised by actually getting killed for reals.
But it made me so sad. I remember being like 13 years old because we fell in love with him so quickly. Mm-hmm. We just, everybody watches it, loves Wadsworth. So it's heartbreaking when you go, oh, no, you're evil.
He's taking care of us through the movie. He's helping us. Yeah. He's guiding us along. Nothing makes sense. And he's talking so fast, it must be true. I believe every word he says. And he lies.
What is that? What is the term for that in a story? It's a something narrator. The
unreliable narrator.
Reliable narrator.
He's Kaiser Soze.
Yeah.
Oh, unreliable. Yeah.
Yeah, unreliable narrator.
Or in stage fright. Oh, spoilers for people.
So okay,
those flashbacks fly.
So I'm a big Hitchcock fan as well. Massive Hitchcock.
Yes, you are.
So walk me through this, Ben, when you were watching the film, did you try to do what I think we all did, is really try to put it all together prior to the ending and go, okay, this is what I'm observing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So did you have revelations like we did?
Yes, I think so. I mean, we're going back many, many years, aren't we now? I love whodunits anyway. I'm a big Agatha Christie fan, and I always try to figure out who done it. And with this, I was noticing when people weren't there. So in the billiard room, when you don't see Mrs. Peacock, it's like, where the hell is she? I was piecing things together at that point. I remember being shocked when it was announced that Yvette was part of it all. I remember that blowing my mind a little bit. But because it was on TV and they had all three endings, I remember when it said, but how about this? I thought, oh, we're going to go through each of the 6 characters, all having their own time to do it. I honestly thought that was going to happen, even though I could see on the clock that, we didn't have time to fit them all in. But I honestly thought that was going to happen.
Yeah. It's kind of one of the things that I love about the movie when I was watching it for the before we did it this way. But when we did it this way, it's actually made me love this movie on a different level than I did before, because I really am looking at it through a different prism. Okay, Here's my final question for you before we get you out of here, Ben. And then, Jeff, if you have anything to add to the conversation, feel free.
Why start now?
Mr. Green, is this the real Mr. Green or is this an imposter?
Oh, yes. Okay, so I've already had a bit of a rant about this to Jeff. Not rant, but that's what I do. I rant about everything. But no, I there's a sequence when we first see the old missionary guy. What do you call him?
The elderly
evangelist.
What is
That's right.
The evangelist, yes.
When he comes to the door and you're focusing on Mrs. Peacock because she's in the forefront, you actually see Mr. Green step back a little bit and he looks a little bit uncomfortable, and it's almost as if he's just saying, leave it. I'm all over this. You can see him in his FBI persona at that point.
Yeah,
I'm convinced.
I agree.
So yes, I do believe that Mr. Green isn't the real Mr. Green.
I love that. This has been my favorite part of this show is coming up with the fact that Mr. Green, and I know Jeff and I didn't come up with that. Obviously, it's probably been talked about a million times, but this is the first time I'm wrapping my mind around, Mr. Green isn't Mr. Green. And
right. I think even if it's not scripted for him to be that way, I'm convinced that that's at least how Michael McKean is playing it. I think he decided, even if it's not, he probably there's a chance he went to Jonathan Lynn and said, "So I'm just an FBI guy all the time," and Jonathan Lynn probably went, "Sure."
Why not?
I won't remember. I won't remember in 20 years. So do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. Who's going to see this movie? Nobody.
Right.
Especially not.
Who's going to take it apart?
And I'm glad you asked me to rank the characters because
let's get that in.
Oh, not so fast.
What is your ranking here?
So last week, our guest Lena, to remind everyone, Lena ranked from least favorite to favorite.
Right.
A Cop was last. Cook, The Motorist, Professor Plum, Mrs. Peacock way down. I have a feeling Ben's is going to be different. Yvette, Mr. Green, Colonel Mustard, Mrs. White, Mr. Body at number 3, Miss Scarlet, and then Wadsworth at the top.
Insanity, some of those, but go ahead.
This is very hard.
She's not here to defend herself.
I'm definitely going to put most of the victims down at the bottom purely because of their lack of airtime, as it were. So I think it seems only fair to put Mrs. Ho, the cook, at the bottom because we see her so briefly. But I do love the fact she's got a chocolate cheesecake on the side, so that's good. I think then I'd have to put I'd put Mr. Body at the bottom.
Body at the bottom.
Yeah. Body at the bottom.
I mean, I think he deserved. Oh God, that's an awful thing to say. But I think he deserved the bullet. But so I'd have him. Then I'd have the motorist. I think Bill Henderson is fantastic as the cop, so he's a little bit higher. Then, this is where you might lynch me. I'm going to put Professor Plum next, mainly because, he doesn't get as many funny gags as far as I'm concerned, and it's weird because this will shock you. When I first watched it, I didn't recognize him straight away because obviously we knew him as Doc Brown. It took me a while.
That's not uncommon.
That's Judge Doom,
Yeah, that is not uncommon because I think he looks in Clue. He looks normal, and we were used to seeing him back then.
Everything he's always.
Taxi, Back to the Future, Star Trek 3, Addams Family. He never looks like a person. So when he's looking like he just walked in off the street and didn't have his hair done, then we don't know. Every once in a while, his voice would give him away, but he doesn't even have like that big,
Oh wait, who did
Christopher Lloyd moment?
You have okay. Give it to me again. You have Cook so far.
Okay.
Cook,
motorist, cop, Plum. Then, we're not going to put the evangelist in here, are we?
Mm-mm.
There's no point because he'll be at the very bottom. Yeah. So then Yvette. I love Colleen Camp. I think her performance is amazing, and she can nestle next to Professor Plum because we're in track 29 together. So there we go. Then we come to the next 6. Okay. Whew, this is going to be really difficult. I'm going to put Mr. Green next.
Okay.
Then, oh, golly. Then Mrs. White.
Okay.
I love Madeline Kahn. Then Miss Scarlet. Then we're at top 3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mustard.
Colonel Mustard. Colonel Mustard next. I think I was so heartbroken when he died. When Martin Mull died.
We got
Yeah.
Mustard. We need Body.
Peacock is next.
Okay.
Oh, Body's at the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
Body's
missed
at the
that.
bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the top 3. Number 3 is Mustard. Number 2 is Peacock, and number 1 is Wadsworth.
So Wadsworth 2 for 2 in his number 1 ranking.
Deservedly so.
Oh man, that's tough though. But no love for Body. See, that's the big difference between the two of you. She had Peacock way down. You have Peacock second.
Yeah.
She had Body way up, and you have him all the way at the bottom.
I will say though, Lena is right. He did have amazing shoes.
So kudos to Michael Kaplan, costume designer. He goes to the top of the crew. And a little bit of love for Bill Henderson. You know, I just went to a screening of a forgotten 1989 film called How I Got Into College, directed by Savage Steve Holland, who did Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer. This was like the third one of that kind of trilogy. Bill Henderson popped up in that as a coach of a high school football player. Okay, look at him. Right before City Slickers.
Right before it. Well, Ben, we appreciate you for joining us. If people do want to nerd out with you and talk Clue, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, yeah, I am on Instagram. I'm just can't remember what my handle is. It's Hitchwood. It is Hitchwood. HITCHWWD. I used to be on Twitter X, but I came off that platform when it just was awful.
Well, that means you were rarely on it. Okay, Hitchwood. That's where you can find it. I'm putting it in my little Google machine right here. Well, you know what? We appreciate you for joining us, Ben, and I thank you also because I know this. I know there's been several times, Jeff, Ben has been listening to this show and gone, these two guys are idiots. Right? I know it. I know it's had to happen.
He usually lets me know. He lets me know because Ben usually on Monday or Tuesday, depending on the time zone, will be on like right that day with comments. And I think of Ben very often when I'm about to say something, and I think,
I walk to work. I walk to work on a Tuesday morning. It's my ritual. So for me, it's Tuesday Clues Day, and I think things. Sometimes I actually get my phone out and start typing while I'm actually listening to it, but then I, almost walk in the direction. So.
I believe that. And the times we've been late, Ben has let me know, by the way. He's like, where is it?
Can I ask you guys a favor? This is terrible, but I can't get a Cluevian keyring. Can I get you guys to get me? They won't ship to Australia. So
we'll figure it out.
Is there any chance you can get one for me?
Michael Wasala of Black 8 Studios. We will try to figure out. Yeah, I can probably... I will do it. No. I will do it. You know what? I've got two. I only need one. I only need one.
I have one.
I'll do it. So Ben, send me your address. I will send it your way.
Thank you so much. I'll flick you some cash.
You deserve it. You've been good to me. And Clue.
You've been good to us, and we appreciate you joining us. Mr. Ben Ripley, round of applause. We appreciate you for joining us on Minute 92, a Clue Movie podcast. We'll be back next week with Minute 93 and talk to our guy, Zach. That's called a tease. But
another Cluevian.
Ben, thank you so much, man.
Thank you guys very much. Loved it.